We're on the field post-game here at Red Wilson Field as Wareham and Y-D tie the game in 9 innings, 4-4, and it's called Due to Darkness. It's Wareham's 4th tie of the season, and this is Wareham Gatemen post-game live. Usual suspects on hand. Andre Sims way down yonder, Jacob Toby right next to me, and Matt Feld, our beat writer, joins us as well. Well, guys, Wareham in the process clinches home field advantage in the first round of the playoffs, securing the 2nd seed, but they could have gotten greedy tonight. They could have beaten Y-D, could have won their 7th game in a row against the East, and an interesting decision in the 9th inning to send Ezekiel Sanchez, who was on second and rounding third on a ball hit to the infield.
Yes, but if I may, I'm going to back up for a hot second, because coming into the inning, as Y-D's new pitcher took them out, I saw that Don Morolio was giving a scouting report to some of the upcoming Wareham hitters. Morolio obviously playing for Y-D earlier in the season. And Morolio, I heard specifically tell them all that the relief pitcher likes to throw a slider and in the dirt. And apparently that was something that was not heard amongst the first 2 hitters in the inning, Alex Estino and Nico Giarratano. Alex Estino struck out on 3 sliders, all in the dirt, swinging, and Nico Giarratano fished for one himself. However, Adrian Tovalin comes up and works a very good at-bat himself, gets 5 sliders, lays off them all to draw a walk. Sanchez comes into pinch run, moves to second on a wild pitch, and on a 3-2 pitch to Morolio on a ground ball in between third and second, Don Seddon appeared to decide to send Sanchez home. It looked like he thought third baseman Will Toffee was going to throw the ball to first base. Instead, Toffee just pump fakes and throws home to get Sanchez out at the plate. And it was interesting. I asked Jerry Weinstein after the game if he had a problem with it, and he had no problem with it whatsoever. Well, Don Seddon had a problem with it, and he regretted the decision. And in my opinion, it was a wrong move. Cole Freeman's coming up as your best hitter coming into the game, hitting .382. And if you don't trust Cole Freeman to get a base hit, you can always attempt to run down there with first and third and 2 men down. So while I admire the aggressiveness, especially in a game that's going to get dark, it was probably not the safest move and probably something I would not advise in a playoff game.
Well, good thing this isn't a playoff game, and you mentioned Adrian Tovalin working the walk. It was a great day for him offensively today. It drew a pair of walks, had a double and a home run as well, Andre.
Yeah, and that's something that Jacob Toby talked to Jerry Weinstein about post-game, and how much of a boost is this going to be for this team should Adrian Tovalin produce? Obviously, no one's not going to have a game like this every single game. That's just unrealistic to think. But if he could be a steady offensive force in this lineup, whether he's playing third or first or DHing, whatever it is, that's a huge boost for this team. And a game like this, we talked about it so much, how we've seen the power, but only in short bursts. And I think today was his most complete game offensively because it wasn't boom or bust. It was the home run, there was the double, but there was also the smart at-bats of working the walks, laying off the off-speed pitches that have troubled him during this season. And so Jerry Weinstein said, although it might have taken a little bit longer than I'm sure a lot of us would have hoped, he is adjusting to this Cape League speed, and he's recognizing breaking balls earlier, and I think that's a more welcome sign than hitting a ball 390 feet to dead center field.
Zachary Pop towed the rubber for Wareham today. Not his greatest start of the season, and command was certainly the problem. And so, Jacob Toby, let's touch on one Zachary Pop.
Well, that one Zachary Pop. This is his 2nd outing in a row where he hasn't gotten out of the third or hasn't gone more than 3 innings of work. And the one thing you look for Zach Pop is first pitch strikes, and obviously his fastball command with his changeup and curveball following as well. And you see the fastball command wasn't there early on, and 3.1 innings, 3 strikeouts. As you look down my scorebook, 4 earned runs. It just wasn't his day. Jerry Weinstein noticing that the first pitch strikes weren't there as well. So for him, it's always an issue to start early. Jim Lawler talked with Andre pregame about that. Starting early, the first 20 pitches need to go quickly for him in order for him to have more success downward, and that didn't happen tonight.
Before we get to hot takes, I don't want to let the relief appearance tonight of Ryan Selmer go by the wayside. 4.2 scoreless innings of baseball. Didn't strike anyone out, but it didn't matter because his sinker ball was so dang effective tonight. He was really letting it roll off his fingertips, and everyone was just pounding the baseball into the ground. So Ryan Selmer takes home my super reliever honors, which is just something that it's an arbitrary award. It doesn't mean anything. Hot takes are going to go around. Matt, we'll start with you.
Well, Zach Pop's going to have to figure it out. This is probably going to be his last start until the playoffs, and he's going to be the Game 2 starter for the Gatemen against the Bourne Braves or Hyannis Harbor Hawks, depending on who finishes in that 3rd spot in the Western Division. And he's going to be someone who's going to be extremely relied upon, not just necessarily in that round 1, but if the Gatemen move on, I wouldn't be surprised if he came out of the bullpen in a big spot if called upon. And the last 2 starts, he's just been ineffective, and it's been from the opening pitch. Unable to throw a first pitch strike for a fastball, and as a result has to turn to his slider, and that works for a short period period of time, but eventually hitters start to sit on that slider because they know you can't get your fastball over. So it's been a little disappointing over these last week or so to see Pop on the mound, and we've talked about it with Jeff Bate in terms of the tempo, in terms of the body language that he admits. And you hear Jerry Weinstein constantly clap his hands with Pop on the mound, tempo, 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 and it's just because he doesn't have that rhythm that he had earlier in the year. And it's going to be something that he's going to have to work on over the next week with Jim Lawther, because this team badly needs him to succeed on the mound.
Go down the row. Jacob, what's your hot take?
I'm going to disagree with Matt. I think Zico Sanchez should have been sent. You have 2 outs. Will Toffee at third base could have overthrown to home plate. Something like that could have happened. Yeah, obviously, Jerry Weinstein knew that even if there was a play at the plate and he got out, Jake Mathis is coming in to pitch, and as we wait for the tractor to go by, thanks. Jake Mathis comes in. He, lets the game be tied, and the game might be over because of darkness. I think Jerry Weinstein maybe had a thought in his mind that could happen, and you send runners. I don't know, man. I would have sent them.
You hear a lot about teams talking about, it doesn't really matter who we play. I think it definitely matters who this Wareham team plays in the first round, because I think this team desperately needs to play Bourne instead of Hyannis, because I don't think they match up well with Hyannis at all, and Hyannis has had ownage over them this season. So I think the scoreboard watching becomes more and more apparent as we wind down this Cape League season, because of the fact that if Hyannis drops, that's a better thing, because they don't want to have to deal with that 2-3 matchup of playing them, because I think with Zach Rutherford playing as well as he is right now, and the fact that they just haven't seemed to be able to beat Hyannis all season, it seems like, minus that one game last time they played, I definitely think that playing Bourne is a much better option for this team, because it'll be, I think, a much quicker series, and you don't want to have a grinded out series going into playing another team that has owned over Wareham and presumably in Falmouth.
Here's my hot take tonight, and it's going to go against everything I've ever stood for, so that's why it's such a simmering take. But with playoffs about 4 or 5 days away now, let's throw player development out the window. These players have already developed enough this summer. They've played 40-plus games here on the Cape League. Let's win a championship. And that goes not just for Wareham, but for every single team. So if guys are going to be pushed a little bit more offensively, defensively, on the mound, so be it. Because I think winning a championship would be really cool for any one of these teams. And I think every player on each of these teams would agree with that. Look, if you're a player right now and your body's aching a little bit, it's obviously understandable. You played a ton of games back at school. You played a very long Cape League season, but you're so close to a playoff championship. That's going to be a story that you're going to be able to tell everyone about once you develop into a professional baseball player. You can nurse your injuries during the fall. That's just my personal opinion. Obviously, we don't want anything career-threatening going on, but I want to win a championship, and I want each and every one of these teams to want to win a championship as well, and so that's my hot take tonight. I may completely disagree with myself tomorrow, but for now, that's how I'm feeling. So for everyone here at our Cape Cod Baseball League Network, to all of you watching back at home, thanks so much. Wareham and Y-D tie this game tonight. Final score 4-4, as it's called, due to darkness, and we're going to call this post-game show due to darkness as well.